This is Kessben 93.3 FM, a new wave of excellence in radio.
Yeah, General, quickly, me person, Dr. Jimendria ne the other person, stubborn player ne the unknown so I na dreams omo. In fact, you can play a stubborn and pimpy ya na yomo a emrasu die yomo din. Ebi krasu muade training time so about the right time. Coach Kasabun so jina no yi na no. Those people are there. But a good number of them on the field they will play. They see Kotoko there and say no. It go beyond a player being stubborn and being managed. Mejitum say, for me take a decision. There were some players I think they will still deserve some chance, especially younger ones. No? But then say Obi nim they see Kotoko, and no nim baby Kotoko free banny they are so I may sure so better or masi. And now me can ha say the Omayeno. And yet an individual, such as say Ogum, and as a Bimpa, IMC chair kwa decision. And Utie Dr. Ajimade and some no kind I think say clearly opinion or appointee Nana Apinkra, whom Nana Apinkra reports to know, are aware of near cleaning, house cleaning or moye.
Okay.
Because Tim no mujidi say microphobia dre about bonnie. E wo team nim nti esu mu dwirigu no mshase afofo so wo hwe Kotoko they have made it an institutional decision to wipe away eniema ayenkekaye no mun start afresh so clearly when there is massive abc ya dia nkrofo bi ho beka dia nipa be nwinwi but yes ade we no a lot depends on the players you are bringing on board.
Okay.
The decisions I'll be making, the signings I'll be, and the results abeba, and the bachelor say, Nyawe and ya na nye. When Dr. Nyawu Tamaklo, a decided say, Obama big players who has work ako, now promoting kwada, because the musical youth. Musical youth no, a be successful is the reason Dr. Nyawu Tamaklo became popular. Ewo house of work. Otherwise, say failure me sure say and couldn't me make him no beam. It's me from what I've heard, from what I've gathered, and from what I knew. I think say the cleanup exercise is a good thing. Where there are one or two players be out baby or feel say we dear no beka. But the most important thing be signings on be any results from the fans no. So clean way now sa boka ekofa players banner say the beba and cancer there, and the bed didn't so be justify or action. I'll take ye no. And commoni biakoye player we dear. In case some tone instead of terminating the contract. General, all over the world, big clubs, it is usually difficult for them to sell players or offload players. Phil Jones to try Manchester United man contract sign for about 5 seasons to a movie. Sika United to no soon. Club kitwe bien who are looking at the performance in the situation no obetua say no into case all the Nicolona or so onko o turn am team crab ma because based on sika oje on you ready so be reduce into drew baby obe say obehwe say player no ene wo a wo mpe no obema na tena honom na watua ne car na watua ne sika nyina ma no ene say bia wo ni be negotiate na bia watua 3 months compensation dia ma no now, no so akoto so akobo no football baby no. They na be. So normally it depends on the individual players. There are some young players now. Or GD say man ko loan based on good faith. On say general say okra na a player no. Na you feel so your plans man but you see how they want to win compete into Cologne e be a 1 season. And after that season Conebra player is likely to play. But so who say enya adwempa like who feel say team no what ja players kwa yaka be 10 11 na still so onkolo a say who need plans be am na bi po enya adwempa na say na tie there terminate my contract and let me go because I know some of the players that they wanted to give them out on loan but these players say no way and they would rather want to terminate our contract. And one thing in modern football is footballers say been played as Asante Kotoko udwaya obekwa akotona ma club bi Se club no negotiate no agree. Na player no say or no onko untumi mfa ne nko. It doesn't happen in our modern football. It's clearly Asante Kotoko feels that they want to start on a new sheet, and that is where they are going. Whatever will come out is the most important thing. For now, that is the decision of the club. And it's going to be difficult for anybody to overturn that. And yes, stubborn players. Maybe Nandi a different word for stubborn player. In this particular instance, maybe you may call them political.
Oh, okay.
You may call them political. Like our vested interest in ensuring that somebody fails. Or interest, say, and I be cry a management. Say, unsure will be failing. Into such a person, no. Yes, say, or you're stubborn into managing. No. But what
O managing any.
O managing is such a
Kasachire.
there are some best. Take a player like Enoch Morrison. My dream is say, near Ma Kotoko after Menciano. No, my dream say was sister. Into me, my dream saying maybe simple Oye Bibi and no why dream bia. Probably he was bent on giving up his best because Oshe latter part now is the reason a lot of people are talking about him. But maybe there are things people might also not know.
Okay.
Otherwise, and Kadama dream say, Osisa and Adjun.
Okay.
What I say? And they got to know certain things which they were not happy with. Even a Drew baby, as Omogang, Nibinis, Manema, Korea, a lot of things. Team manager heard a lot. The coach heard. I am seeing Crawford heard a lot. But I think that who shared the latter part, born or the mom now. Na am say was
Well,
maybe he could have continued in that bright note.
You say about Subi, my mom was watching my drink a and so they have found stubborn players persist in their own strategies or opinions despite contrary advice or evidence, such as refusing to adapt their playing style despite a coach's instructions, whilst unprofessional players exhibit behaviors that violate normal or codes of conduct, such as consistently arriving late to practice or disrespecting teammates and staff. One can conclude Cristiano Ronaldo as a stubborn professional player because he may insist on their own playing style despite coaching advice, whereas unprofessional players such as Mario Balotelli engage in conduct that violate team norms, such as arriving late to training or causing disruptions of the field. For what some of the Kotoko players exhibited, I would say most of them were rather unprofessional and unproductive players. Ohiniba Kwachi, Cologne, Germany, Nediwe Abba. Mr. Achampong.
It's good that your contributors, I would say your contributors because they are listening to the program and making meaningful contribution. They also categorize, trying to categorize the players into different stubborn and unprofessional. What I say, but English language. So I'm sure you can also continue to give names, all in the base. I will try to separate the two. Even say, especially use political players. Oh no, it depends on how angle I be. But let's try and get it clear. Ghana a bit different from the top level. I mean, in Europe standard. So about Cristiano Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo might be entirely different from your system. No, yes, this is a guy and he wants to deliver. Into coach Carson and also a man is suggesting, say, I want to respect those things.
Okay.
Boss, no, you be video. I want to plan a bit to my friend, coach Josie, or Betias, your name, I can come on. Player, no, I crack it what to say, if you for debate my friend Pep Godola Pep. Obe Jan and Nene didn't come on normal. But I has only wine to say we are Kotoko play in plan with Ogum Prosper, no, I done any. Because on what so to try and get a culture, bring in the culture contest. It won't say the oil and why won't say be stubborn, even yesterday normal, because you are allowed to also express your opinion at omu level. Even some of the managers and I can't in normal life job, managers get involved. Well, Jumana Moyenibi. But I had the manager sit and number your Juman, then he come and report to me. So to try and get a cultural in that cultural contest, when you start difference, now then you can categorize them properly. Into the Oma Mohana, if you can money in Swadi. If you are they are being manipulated. If you they are being instigated to create problems. A bit different from labeling such a person like a stubborn player. Stubborn maybe in nature no. So what must say? Me, I do not think I will never think something. Yeah, never. Every time I keep on telling Mr. Kessben say from sa the unya no. Because me I'm difficult to be handled. Me am too. Me say me difficult. Be handling be. Everybody knows me. Sure. Me obi am come adwen. I'm plain. I'm straightforward. You may disagree. But I think one I want to say I don't be a fan say hey we are arrogant or we say. Me come adwen. And as long as I believe in what I'm saying, I don't care who disagrees with me. Me come here. Also can't the number one. And so we have such people as are serious. But not somebody and it that wholesome so person destroy the very institution that fits him. Institution na seven brothers a change the entire generation. Papa ebe 2 year na e wo dada. Then you deliberately want to destroy it because of obi interest. You can't consider the person a first stubborn player. No. And then no. You get rid of such person. And it happens with human bebree. You back as me say ba ha che. You no go for at na ha ye nkofo adi. Ayetia. So what I say, papa mom hwe adwuma no so mo hwe obiara ne so ba hu ze obiara tie. So wonya omo no so we onye. Wo ya de how many times na me man can say Muhammad and Supreme Court judge and letter amra. But say you made because the person knows something, you say me come adwen. Until you follow the step. Obi so betma kofa 20 Ghana. Na yi na di because chrono enya de authority wa ha. One difference no one. It is such obi or yes and the untim ka say bia or stubborn player. And it da ho na de boni no adu boni no dey or wa or say adwuma. And you probably so be Jarmanako.
Can they be managed? Sanko for.
And I make a choice so a stubborn.
No, for best.
No, a stubborn as in the sense that the all countries so easy Christian no don't know there. You can manage them. Look at Jose Mourinho. How many times he fought with Sergio Ramos? But he was playing.
Okay.
Sergio Ramos no Mourinho ni enhia. Hey, sometimes you Mesut Ozil film. We Sergio Ramos kofa Mesut Ozil share. Person catch Mourinho say kwasasem na wadi no. He disagrees with your why no. This is a player. So in this case he was managing him. Some of them to fought omantimi omani anka team leader omokoye. He will fight with you. Henrik Mkhitaryan. Even Ika Casillas scrum Mourinho ni nya problem. Say dem oba no in sa court hero na say Ika Casillas aye or Real Madrid no. Mourinho disagreed. Into otani di dimbebreba aye bono on pay even the girlfriend side into our girlfriend here journalist Mourinho problem what to be paying but yes Mourinho had issues with all that
officer no leak information
edu baby no who say chale Ika Casillas no court Euro Madrid me pamuna menya asem to me pamuna memo e no koto Diego Lopez amokaya koto Diego Lopez o meda go mu abra Casillas ya de chen no we na eda go no mu enti nya de bia na manage you no eto bia you have to hold the boo by the horn you kind of saying English.
Intino, omo tisa and say deliberately. So there'll be no bon so one. Untimi enka sanchiro mo musas.
Let's say to be any be an cosa, to be if you one, na could two. No monitor. Obi also a complete bad night. Me I've told you, I've made my opinion clear. So I disagree with the number of players na Kotoko ejo mo kwamo makono but no when obi a ho te so nka tie nyina ni ba ko so proper also manage that yankwana da be se honkwan obi yi na film okay amanako obi yi na film amanako nti ni na depends on the
be serious
be ni me mentis our story no mentis our story no but I'm saying say Mourinho
man for the remote control omo
mama example in Ghana both Imanodua played under Mourinho. Michaelison played under Mourinho. Our own Suleiman Muntari played under Mourinho. But Mourinho keep on referring to ACN Seneba. ACN referred to him as Papa. Can the same be said of Muntari? Maybe no. Because of relationship, I don't know. On office of business, no more business, on you soon. But the other players who played under Mourinho, on Pamu Craft, team Musa and Benyasum. Pamu, and some of them are good players. Mo Salah. So Betches so a good player. Kevin De Bruyne in time ever says no ball. Na Mourinho need problem to no man no ball. And I can give you hey England omo can say since Gaza player wa pie England onu ball pa otimi twe your friend Joe Cole mo yo say hey ti boy no we say boy 90 minutes ni won so da Joe Cole when minutes ni won so da enti some of these things happen when na man no akohia bibisa
okay yakwaba beso
some manageable others
are
not manageable
you say me din komo kakra me ba some are manageable others are not
yes
intino ye ba we sign twice free baby we dey see e no mu nyina
ni twi ye due nya woni ebe wo no itu ase
that chicken okay na minim say Andy oni mu nya adwen itu ase me kwaba na ya beti do no so e dey to ega ask Naro if he has any idea of the second Sudanese player coming to Asante Kotoko. There are updates any update on the incoming players. The late Cecil Jones Atukwefio in an interview once said Ismailado was a stubborn player who was always not attending training. He normally attends training on Thursdays prior to their games, but he managed him, and Ismail always gave him the results on the field. Emmanuel Yati was a stubborn and indisciplined player, but each time he gets the nod in games, he always excels. So the manager should also up his game since players come from different backgrounds. Okay? Sergio, who will you blame if the unlikely event, in the unlikely event, the incoming players also exhibit same behaviors? Will we sack the entire team or sacrifice the coach? Okay, Sergio, Edwin Fitakrade.
I think it's why we partner, especially in the categorization of
Yati,
Emmanuel Yati, and then Ismailado. So Ismailado was a stubborn player. He do Manuel was stubborn and indisciplined. Show me carry a cry.
Message ibium. Yes, sign banner the local source no eba. Na fe ye biemu kakra me kwakwachi ho. Mama sisa message ni Fitakrade no eba no enso ebium. Ask Naro if he has any idea of the second Sudanese player coming to Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Any updates on the incoming players? The late Cecil Jones Atukwefio in an interview once said Ismailado was a stubborn player who was always not attending training. He normally attends training on Thursdays prior to their games, but he managed him, and Ismail always gave him the results on the field. Emmanuel Yati was a stubborn and indisciplined player, but each time he gets a nod in games, he always excels. So the manager should also up his game since players come from different backgrounds. Sergio, who will we blame if in the unlikely event, God forbid, the incoming players also exhibit same behaviors? Will he sack the entire team or sacrifice the coach, Sergio, and the way and so every Takrade Abekayensa and every. All right, me twaso and chakwa miki babe transi not local players or the local stories no and so abrain. Eric Kwabena Bequeen Eddie we abrain. I'll say I greet you, my boss. I'm confused here this morning, looking at the way we claiming the Ghana League is not competitive, but the foreign players are getting call-ups into their national teams. And I feel the local boys need to wake up. The foreign players are getting call-ups. The local boys need to wake up. When I went to Egypt, in the contract, they stated that your season portion of the money in your contract, they put 30% down and let you know if you are able to play 70% of the league, then they give it to you at the end of the season. So you'll be forced to work hard for that 30%. Eric Bequeen, if you say,
and it is true.
Yeah,
it is true. Even though
much,
Kofo Bibre cancer Ghana League in competitive. Yet you more about to say Randovoka,
Mukwala,
Mokwala, national teams need film. Sometimes team A, film, national team. To only the official local boys, so work hard, don't work hard. They will get opportunity to be a mobile national team. Beyond that, also Kobo Egypt in the contract of signing. Even though you are made to believe that this is a contract sum. If you fancy bit your car, $10,000 a month. 30% in this case 3,000. No more to two. Oh no, so think about at least 70% of the matches. Meaning say so coach wants to win, so you select you. To so boss are the near who's about 70% of the matches now. That's as can in once at the amount back, calculate the amount. One team about 70% of move amount.
Okay.
And only a part of for me part of the performance and performance whatever contract now we signing. Your basic wage is paid. Basic salary the amount. Yes, okay, but some you 5,000. Name me so 70% of the match. I will sign 5,000 or monthly win home. Then this one boy we need calculate number of matches about now a tiama. It happens, baby.
Yeah, and teenagers say untiminga so ko bro and
so you don't home because you want to earn the money. You want to earn the money. They won't give it to you if you don't earn it.
Okay.
You need to earn it. How do you earn it?
Okay.
By so by working hard. Now what me I participate in 70% of the club's matches over the season or matches that you are selected to play.
Okay.
So
all right. Okay, Eric Baquin Bobo Kumasi Asante Kotoko. This one day about no. Yentwaso from Sergio Takrade.
So the point I'm raising is clearly to say Ishmael Adu the coach in the cancer, the coach have seen the problem say on pay training here. Now about training 2-3 days before match. So in this case, and you'll be an agent saw the straw house of folk and you'll be an so creative we say or you're stubborn. So those are the ones you talk to. But one dimension, maybe a psychology, be could if you might be a Monday, Tuesday, or boss Monday, especially on in the area for an airborne no. So those you can take it up and work on it. But to be a or disciplining no man, even in discipline players, some of them you talk to them. Some like my tall list of players who had problems with Mourinho. Some of them played until Mourinho if you are called.
Okay.
So no, let's say be all smooth. Some of them played until Mourinho if you are called. So some of them you talk to them, some of them you try to manage. Others say difficult. Hey. When I was at Asante Good, Omu praised the whole Ghana midfield of us good. Sata Mokai, Apia Makati, Latif Anabila, James Akamenko. You think you were Chavaka say easy? Joe, Miss Oti Chavaka say easy. We're talking about difficult players to deal with. Difficult players to deal with.
Okay.
But these are quality players, you need them. Akamenko. So, men can't say
stubborn.
See, Joe, but you need him because you're an excellent player.
Okay.
So you need to deal with him at a certain level.
Okay.
And as a manager, it will be also the other players are complaining. To tell me before the other players, you rebuke him, you remind him. Behind the scenes, you talk to him.
Okay.
So what I say, you ask the players who were there, they will tell you. Sometimes I'll rebuke him in front of all of them. No one says so because once I say, oh, you be now the so no more can you complain. Why am I say? But football, you play with 11 players, not one. Even though it's an excellent player, but you need the other 10 to complement the effort to know about you. So how then do you manage the situation? And so you are doing.
Okay.
So what am I trying to say? And so me, where my issue is that I'm not ruling out the possibility that players be with team. Omama just bro and Omama just say maybe they don't like the coach or somebody is setting them up against the coach and other things. But can it be all the 18 or 20 players? Absolutely no. Then there's someone at the same situation. Then there'll be fundamental issue.
You are a performer
in an American. So performance, you say the work of about 8 months, 10 months, let's say performance. Then I'll blame work of by. I'll blame work of by. Because if you are one, they say you're too good. On team, but the be buy and still now to continue and farmer on your time to be man time kakra. Obi also find about no unmi so to material because you come when your option A, when your option B. Because this kind of amount you must waste the money to work of another. Meanwhile, the quality in Drew level no. So you let him go. A waste of money. To all the 18 or 20 players cannot be in the same category. You must try and categorize them. Emu dia no omo team no omo bad nut, omo create problems man. Then obi I always say these are out of the 8 to 20, some of them rather beg the club. So more munko. Richard Lampton is the same situation. So, that's what I was made to believe. So why does the club want to renew the contract? And honestly, was some team that Bobo Ghana Swatch or Pesoko Kakra. So that the club then allowed him to go. They can to categorize them the same way. So be in the situation. So I think that the club also do the listening public and the supporters a great deal of service. If you can categorize players, no, the 20 no mukono, obia in the situation. Yeah, we nyina enko for the same reason.
Sure.
So
Okay.
Because yes, because I've told you, sir. Before one manager, before Jose Mourinho, I can even choose Pep Guardiola. What I say? Before one manager, hey Guardiola, one matter you don't know me issue. Danny Rose. Yeah, Danny Rose one time an opportunity to work Tottenham training grounds. Who do not report journalist be go, hey, mo pe dia wa ha. No ase kwa tan kanu otuko. So much say by Pamu Jose Mourinho in the morning no. Any debuta. Danny Rose, any desanti or drive call training grounds so who media guys in hey guys, what you have to do, man? What's going on? I feel no ase kwa tan kanu otuko. Oh no. Okay. So I'm telling you, sa no way nyina.
All right.
And you difference, no.
All right.
About then obi anim say this set of players say no muko with this reason. We no muko. Yo, the make so so people are very much likely to then think say all the 20 players are because say onu nyina subanye no mu say. Then there's something fundamentally wrong in the team.
Yeah.
How can 20 players onu nyina subanye or how can the 20 players all of them disrespect the coach? Then there's something fundamentally wrong with the coach.
Okay. All right. Yentwa so enchekwa make it local source no ebebre general. I completely disagree with this wholesale players of Asante Kotoko leaving. Okay. So how come not even a single player was not willing to go on loan? Do you think if there is a CEO and a board managing the club, this action will be approved? Is it also true that Kumasi Asante Kotoko are still paying these players who didn't play the whole of last season? One, Clinton Opoku, Rashid Norte, Yaya Dawuni. If yes, why aren't they also leaving? Lastly, have you noticed the circumstances under which our recent captains are leaving the club? One, Felix Annan, Emmanuel Jemfi, Richard Boadu Agadas, and now Danlad Ibrahim. Okay, Gambi observation on also.
You see in Ghana,
yeah,
maybe I to be a but I think that the club administrators and managers ought to have a great look at this, especially with Asante Kotoko. If you are made a captain, you are virtually the spokesperson of the players. You are virtually the warlord of the players. You are the ringleader of the management.
Yeah.
Management shouldn't see that as you antagonizing them and I say because problems are players who now soon be far catch.
Okay.
To one when you have a case on nipaninye.
Okay.
To one when you have a case nipaninye. That is why team is so much choose captain.
Okay.
Must be a leader. He leads the team. Okay. Those who even disagree with the coach, one more issues with the coach, they'll pass you to the captain to come and say it. So if the captain comes to the coach, can say, I didn't know be away, mobile, and away, so on tells mobile. Don't see the captain so in Paponini and also disrespect you. He's speaking as part of the job, as part of the leader of the playing body.
Okay.
Almost all these captains, it's a system.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, Joe. Talking about the players, have you forgotten about Joe Tex of Kumasi Asante Kotoko in the 80s? He didn't like going to training, but performed so well in the matches. Okay. So Adebi coach Adebi knew how to manage him. All right.
Have you forgotten the famous
every Asafaba Usu. Okay.
Usu. Yo, have you forgotten the famous saying? Whether a true, and you true, no disco, no go. What can I say? Famous saying.
Yeah.
The great Ronaldo.
Yeah.
So Pechel in China.
Former Kotoko.
What I say? Oh Pechel in China, Joe. Oh Pechel in China. Oh that disco. Obeko disco. Ya man one is a man who disco no. Obeko disco. But they change. Oba born as go normal. And you see man who no disco no go.
I can testify to the indisciplined nature of James Akaminko because I know him personally here in Accra. It's very difficult to manage. Fred did a good job there. Famia, Edwifia Accra, and Abraham. If those terminating contracts in Asante Kotoko were the bank rulers of the team, they will have thought it twice. If this current shambolic managerial arrangement is not changed, Asante Kotoko will continue to suffer. Hansen, Huntadu, Puano, and the way Abba. Andy Kem, Mamma Hona, Maybe also the bre, yeah. Okay. Didi, Mammy free on a bra, quite Mickey. When you say, oh, yeah. Enoch Morrison started receiving some huge solidarity support immediately after his interview with Kessben Sports last week. In life, impression says a lot about humans, and I think Morrison is very much blessed with good impression from people generally. But I know a good number of fans, Heart-to-Folk fans, who are seriously fighting for him to be shown some mercy. Some of us can't claim to be close to the Kotoko team and know all the happenings there. But I'm urgently begging Asante Kotoko IMC to consider the public opinion on Enoch Morrison. Also, Dr. Ogum should calm down because all the negative attributes towards him can't be false. All right, DD, Akwadan Senior High School, Andy.
You know, Saturday, the number cast the two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
And a doctor said he disagree with my stance. Said you, I'm on corner free Chelsea air battle. Obia Kase or you Obia, so managing a heading. He came to Kotoko, they couldn't manage him when Timiamo. Or call Chelsea, he's the top scorer in the GPL. The same Amankona. I'm not saying that play a beer now be Timia managing, but you know, players are coach ya Koto Diaba. Players be free division 1 eba. Players ya be more creative for season or mobi and no money chance of Kotoko. Now all of a sudden, BBR they are political, they are stubborn.
But this is a Maxwell Gnadu car crab also in offer do South Africa.
Yeah.
So
he's going to leave in such a man Africa no.
I think that is almost a done deal.
Yeah.
The South African deal.
Yeah. Hey,
but no, not the part of it, but on part of it. I think that they should offer him some improved ways. Now in area how he will do in ways.
Especially when they have accepted some
Africa. They need a quality coach.
Okay.
You know,
compete a club from South Africa. Orlando Pirates are $600,000 US. Akoto player.
Yes.
Yeah. Africa.
Yeah, but there are some so almost difficult more. There are clubs in South Africa that are so difficult.
Okay, here to us.
It is general. My point in say, if we are calling orientation for players, we cannot ignore the coach. If we are calling loyalty from players, we cannot ignore the coach. Without the players, coach no one will be coach. It is general. I agree certain players cannot be managed. But we blame the players and ignore the leader. No. The issue of Kotoko players here political and starting net. And you know be the bar about the captains of the club and the come of us were free. Hey, say Gani you almost the players and a Gani you could receive concern or say sacrifice because onuna lead ayas onuna ye gang against the management. Felix and I the last situation is the same thing. Who say on so lead certain players on the football player. The coach back and also different thing. The same thing. And my question is, what is actually wrong within the Kotoko setup? Players are team in Tiobika. Bernard Morrison was a key member of the Kimfesa team. But Kimfesa it do 5 months in Tuamuka, 6 months in Tuamuka. One politician one kote click, one koye gang go. He comes to Kotoko and all of a sudden the player becomes a political player. Only they control things in the thick of events. What is actually within the Kotoko team? And to be a bar, no a politician. And no idea. And what's going forward? No Kotoko, no me free. Every season, Kotoko Pam players, who could be some almost players, the Cassia de Omokulu Danko. Some narrative no at for more than 10 years. A dear Quentina players are or more contract, Otimi Babeka semi mobile. Players or contract Kotoko so more pamno. Okase Omun Fanning Cologne and as Omunton, I agree. When big team decide to sell players, you know, a na no thing, untenya, certain so Mudisika Beba. But at least there is a way out. In Tiadintin may be Omunde, not the be near Mankoya. The first thing out here and say, we a politician, we are stubborn, we say, you know. players no omo ba Kotoko no ya link omo so omo ba Kotoko no relatively they are bigger than omo ko. So if those players no omo ko no and omo ntimi am manage omo dia, then they should watch out for those coming. But na prosperity ho any management members. Okay. The last time an example of Master Dr. Sapomo there, any key players, the top players within that squad ultimately manage omo. Enti ntimi nko blame players nko so omo de omo ba yen form nko secretariat yen chire omo what Kotoko stand for yen chire omo de obo Kotoko unya free the coaches no sa practice na o say come omo no omo hunu say football enya asore so pese o players no ka say obi ade nsem ku na che unya but general say player ne betimi ama results no on the field of playing ko adia e ho na also make sure so obere no manage player ni ye no timi abo mo nya results general aha ya waha ene yete say Amando in one of the Kotoko has game e demand total 90 boots ama omo one thing wa bontin Herbert provide man Kotoko has games. A lot goes into club management and player management. Into coach didn't focus on the management should focus on managing those guys. Bet me abo mo and their results. Na bo no mo munim bon general. So konya ba ko na aka se no de nsa guneti. Eti se kaka mu de ni bia no afa ne sa. Enye sa bo no mo munim bon no. Obi o ha ne nante ekro de beti asi park ne so no. Ekura no. Etimi didi no young players atem. Ba bo ni be di no ho a so so they should find a way to manage players who are coming on board. Okay. And yes, Kotoko be kwa ma year bia ya be discuss we you stubborn yentimi manage we more there football and adibo near the ball. You know. Okay,
I feel the manager should also be talked to moving on. You can't tell me all the players are always wrong and the coach is always right. Let's manage the two for effective performance. Say Jude with Takradi and Abremi. Okay. Yamfa and also NCR me kwa mikio na me hwedo obobo no de breye na me ayadma me nyan nte Seth Osei why
Seth former player of 11 wonders, former player of Obuasi Ashanti Good Oko Israel. Okay. And like Saturday in Mekan. Okay. Saturday in Mekan. Okay. Latest one Abeka Hono and Sana make be one here Samuel Tenedu of Legon Cities. Okay. Or a former Ebony player. Okay. By holding mate for that.
The performance to say
Onimbo. On so ma approach it. On ma approach
above Oma ye omono.
Ndina ko to konfifi won dey say na hoda ho. Dey di kan na hoda ho.
Who
na hoda ho. So be
why we
na hoda ho. In recent time, this is the West Kotoko made food I own. Okay. Inti or don't see a player or my approach you know. A lot of players no my approach you, but the latest one.
Can you do need the ball and the call Legon City?
The ball and the call. The ball at the boy.
I've just been told just set or say any foreign guys you know.
Oh, okay.
Train okay. And I feel other locals you know. And so more human free or chineko.
The baby and the good stars guy no. Bibiako yom be in there. And now Emmanuel Prince Cabron. Okay. And now Emmanuel entrance will be akuya by the close of the day. Okay. No, maybe.
Na Saka no, what is it? Some of the home.
Karela na Saturday no. Na Karela na get
Bofu captain.
Ono akrane na fufu cross one day Kotoko for pen into oku.
Saturday na Karela for so pushing pa.
I see.
Until maybe say Samates because the na say Samates so that would anya sign for APR. That would so sign for APR. Into almost will be in the market for a midfielder.
Is there a BNN or Besai?
Okay. Okay. The picture.
Center on Velino.
Made for that. I'm on the picture.
Oh, okay. Because I Saturday na no need the Monaka Muninawo. EPR. But there were some little details of the contract. No, not Simba 4 person who pull last minute AB on him. So I think say
my own pictures are
on Velino there. Then that's it. You know, you said to say no player na no boys go that. Okotna pure. Okay. A interview Sre Kotoko supporters omunyi jiska metono mra Kotoko na wa mobi obi wudu.
Okay. Is Andy aware that Kotoko lost close to 9 matches? Sheu Tijani was Karat Obuasi anyway and so Breye. Kumasi Asante Kotoko would have been relegated wallahi talai if Morrison and Danlad were still the team. Okay. Sheu
almost about 7 matches no we lose it to us. Yeah. The man you Emma Wadriel said they conspired to lose no. And they say after opem so no mu kasa e catch kyerɛ so mu nkɔbɔ ma no ɛma mu shi jama ma coach no ɛpa coach no chona fede victory.
Okay. Even Kofin Tojan was managed because he was a very stubborn and controversial player. You know what message by Kofin Tojan? On one the message by.
So no the manage no e different from we no. Yes sure say Kofin Tojan any point in time. E born up dream mu pose okogina park no so on chenda.
Yes.
Ono dressing no gina park no so a. Aja. Obi a menhia friend no pa no chose moto no o ye Kotoko asset inti moto no on fancy ho. Ombe man car.
Yeah.
O se ne un ka ne o fo Kotoko no o de moto no be ko bravo.
No moto won.
Eh Kofin Tojan.
Moto free akuto mo ba de.
Okay. Samuel Tinedu has been my best DM in the 2023-2024 season. Okay, after Emmanuel Keyeke. General, the guy played for Techiman Heroes, Techiman City, and Ebony FC before joining Coach Fabian's Legon Cities. The guy is top notch. Spain Burger, Accra, and the way, and so Abraham.